Hey,
Hey, good evening, guys. Welcome to episode 10 of Three Men on the Record. And we're glad to be here again. It's good. We have a great show today. We have a special guest over there in the bottom right there. We have Trin and Audra from CapCityPop. Um, we have Jake, Gonzo Shenanigans, and Scott from Echo Waves. So if you guys haven't paid attention to Whatnot before, CapCityPop, they've been on there for what, 4 years. They're at what, 5,993 followers. We lost them.
get
We
him
lost
back.
them. They left. Well, they'll be back, guys, in a minute. So once they come back, we'll discuss. We'll
They must have hit the wrong button.
what, you did you kick them?
No. I said they must have
All
hit
right.
the wrong
So
button.
technical difficulties. It happens. We'll get them back in a minute, and we'll introduce them. They've been selling on Whatnot for what, 4 years now. I think it's funny, and people talk about me with being transparent with showing the vinyl and all that. They're the first. Those are the ones I learned it from. Is if you ever watch their shows from the beginning, so everyone's like, wait, yeah, he's being transparent. But if you ever watch Trin sell a record, I mean, he's very descriptive. Any little mark, he'll tell you about the gravy, the foxing, and when you get the records, they look great. It's just he's very transparent of whatever he sees, he tells you, and that's kind of how I've always been selling, and so that's kind of where I got it. I didn't get my organization skills from them because they're organized. I'm not. Um, and the description and the knowledge, they're another one who they love their music, the knowledge, and the information they bring to you is incredible. And again, I always say to everyone, buy from the people that love music, and CapCityPop, Audra and Trin are one of those people.
Uh, yeah, sorry, I had a quick thing, so I hope we were able to come back in okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Sean.
So tell us about what you guys got going on, or tell us a little about how you started.
Yeah, so really, we were vinyl collectors in general, like we all are. Had a big love for vinyl, and we were in Trend was always really experimental with music, and I knew a little thing about something in Japan called city pop. This would have been like 2018, and we were in a record store, and I found a comp. I think it was like Japanese Women of Boogie, and then it's like that. We had a certain number of years that it covered, and I was like, you should get this. Like, I think that you would like this. It's funk. Like, I had listened to a few tracks, and he listened to it, and it became like a thing.
Yeah, pretty much. It became a thing that I began researching. I poured a lot of time into it. I would sit up for hours just watching like reels of entire albums on YouTube while they would still be available.
They were gone.
Removed.
But
and came up with a scheme to start importing titles in mass just so I could fulfill my own collection, and I was just going to sell everything.
And he came to me. I think I just want to do this all the time. Like, I just want to and listen to it. And he had found like people online, and it became this whole thing. We started on some smaller platforms, and eventually made our way to Whatnot, and it's been a crazy trip. It's not really what I expected in running a record store. I think kind of ending up on Whatnot, we're all kind of like, this is a great community, but it's never really what I like. I never imagined anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's super niche community with Japanese music, and we cover a lot of things outside of city pop. We do a lot of other community stuff, and yeah,
we put a lot of focus on international.
And now, yeah, we do a lot of different Japanese music, but city pop is kind of the hot part right now. So, hello everybody.
And then also, I've noticed with Henri and Takanaka coming to the United States, with the ticket sales, you think that's going to be happening more often now?
Trin and I were talking about when we were picking this list, right? We were picking this list, and it's so hard, and I'm sure you guys go through it, as you look at like the music that was big at the time, right? Like there was an album that was super successful, or there's an album that's like successful and like retrospective, right? Like a hidden gem that everybody now celebrates. And city pop really has, its impact in Japan in the 80s as popular music, and now this kind of global resurgence and nostalgia and phenomenon. And when we picked the albums, we picked kind of based on what that community would view that, right? Like kind of this retrospective view on that. So
Well, I mean, we really appreciate having you guys, and part of one of our underlying themes of the podcast is to, for it to be an extension of the Whatnot vinyl community. You guys have not only long-standing but well-respected, and I always think on Whatnot there is a disproportionate amount of Japanese records sold on Whatnot compared to the other sales platforms out there in America, right? And it's a big part of our community. I know we sell, Jake and I sell a lot of Japanese press records, U.S. artists, but because of that, we get people that stop in and ask for City Pop and stuff like that. We always refer them back to you, like I'm not the one to ask about that.
thank
Have
you.
City Pop,
Oh, yeah, always.
but it is part when we talked about the essential 500 albums. I would almost say that it has an overlay of Whatnot, and you guys are giving that a lot of visibility in our community. Just like I think a disproportionate amount of Japanese press records are sold on Whatnot compared to the other American sellers on platforms.
Yeah. Yeah. I think really Whatnot is just it's such a great community. And
It's become like a very valuable tool for us as far as like bringing in music, imported titles, vinyl, or whatever kind of media, that we can also use this to tell you why it's important,
right.
to explain like the careers of some of the artists that are on it, and to suggest to you ways to find it and explore it on your own. Find what you like, share what you know about it or what you find. Come back and talk to us. Whatnot's given us a real opportunity to create this personal exchange with so many of our followers, and so many of our friends that
And just people even passing through. Like I think that's what's so great about Whatnot as a format is, you just have people come into your room and they're like, so what's up? What do you have? What do you specialize in? And you get to have these back and forths, and somebody might, you might find an album that you never heard of, or find an album that you haven't seen since you were 13. And really have like more of like the record store experience, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
not just from somebody's list of stores. You're going in and talking to somebody about what they recommend or what they have and new.
and they could see it in real time, and you could talk about imperfections
I think
and
I
things in
think
real time.
I think that but it really shows just, the amount of Japanese stuff that I think that we sell on Whatnot, like in general, right? Like the pressings and stuff like that, is just the quality of like the vinyl in general, with and kind of just the hunger for like a good clean like pressing. And I think that the Whatnot community has excellent taste for that, right?
Well, it's really amazing to me is I never I'm never not shocked when you get a certain Japanese record, you import it and you take it out. You're like, oh my gosh, the thing is perfect. The cover is substantial and beautiful, and the record is immaculate. It's I never get over that. I've been selling it for like 13 months now, and it still amazes me when I get my shipments in, and I can't wait to dig through them. It's like Christmas every time.
It's
Yeah.
either, yeah, and it's just like that's my big thing. I'm glad you brought it up because I always feel like I'm crazy because it's like the jackets are just
Yes.
right.
Pristine.
Like they're just like, you're not gonna get like that floppy,
Yeah.
no floppy European jacket. Like I'm not. Yes. So like I yeah, I love that. And I think it's really just I can't get over just like Whatnot as a platform because it works so well explaining and showing that kind of quality
And it's really opened up the vinyl community a lot uh, especially as far as online sales. There's an alternative to just what someone else has written down in a vague listing.
Right.
May or
You
may
can
not
connect with
have the
it.
real picture. You could connect with them and develop a
Look at it,
relationship with the sellers
physically see them.
like
Yeah.
you would with a regular brick and mortar record store.
Yeah,
It's so
That.
exactly.
it's the new.
But yeah, great stuff. Yeah, I picked a bunch of things at City Pop. We have some City Pop albums, and it's really cool because it does really tie in with like classic rock and kind of like the normal like Western music that we're used to, right? Where City based in rock and roll. It's got a lot of jazz and fusion and funk sounds that are actually based off of, a lot of classic rock from
Right.
earlier in the period.
And a
So we're
lot of
gonna
Latin sounds that really kind of and synth pop sounds at the same time that kind of started leaning into the Western music and rock music, especially like yacht rock. Gonzo's a big fan of yacht rock. A lot of that and city pop have very similar sounds generated on opposite sides of the world at the same time by some of the very same musicians in both
But
scenes.
yeah, there's a lot. So, but glad to kind of give an outline of that.
yeah, we're gonna add 3 to the list tonight. So thank you for your
And
help.
also, guys, the Toto played on a lot of Japanese records too.
I'd like to see a Japanese Toto cover band. That's what I'd like to see.
Toto's
Honestly,
Arena Rock. I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
but
They're probably
It is yacht rock.
and the other challenge for you guys is that a lot of this stuff doesn't show up on Discogs, or a lot of this stuff that comes with it is not on Discogs. You guys like have a little bit of a disadvantage, it seems, because
Yes.
some things that's not even in Discogs, and you have a copy of it. Obviously, it exists. It's not on Discogs, but
It's crazy because like I've kind of seen like Discogs get built out like with some of this stuff because like some of the tour records and some of like the Honor records, one press, and then all of a sudden now you come in and like, okay, actually we found 4. So is actually like, you're kind of watching it in real time, like be documented and like the community grow. It's something that's distinctly Japanese, a specific time period in Japan with city pop, and then you kind of have how everybody else listens to it and enjoys it, and the feelings that they get. It's kind of like a nostalgia genre, and it's completely different in like popularity for like what was actually popular at the time, right? So it's fun stuff.
Well, I'm sure Floyd Bundy is just glad we're not adding any jazz tonight. So
It it's
All 3 of my records are jazz.
it's
All
so
3.
it's so because a lot of Japanese popular music was originally rooted in jazz. So before World War II, jazz was like the big sound along with some traditional Japanese music. So a lot of their rock music does have a lot of jazz influences, but there's definitely a generation of, I would say, rock and roll artists that came out that kind of wanted to separate that. So
I think that we
one of the questions. So, if someone's starting out, how would you go about fitting them into to a record? I almost think of it as a car salesman. What can I get you into today?
that's a good one, and that's kind of what we went around with the list.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of like a large back and forth because personally, you have your own relationship with music, and then you have a relationship with or what word I'm looking for, like kind of like the view of like the whole community, right? And I would say, would you say Timely is like your go-to like recommendation?
my go-to recommendation.
I know what your
Those are
go-to
different. Those are
recommendation
different than
is.
the list that we have tonight. The list that we have tonight is really based around vinyl collectors in general and titles that vinyl collectors would all agree are going to be some
Kind
the
of
most
like
essential in this
ones that are bigger, like in the resurgence, right? Like kind of in like this new like post 2017
It's a revival.
resurgence. I would say if you would look at Discogs, okay, like Discogs comes up and they did this like it was like the top album sold of the month or whatever. And Henri's Timely, which is a City Pop album, had a reissue, and it was in the top 10 albums sold for the month. For me, that was just like wow, like that is huge for a Japanese album released in, I don't know the exact year, forgive me guys, 1982, maybe 83, is one of the best-selling new records of the month. And it is such a good record to get into and listen to. Henri Timely, it's ANRI Timely with 2 exclamation points. It's
got a little bit of everything for everybody.
Yeah,
If you like 80s
and
music,
I'm sorry, it might have a little bit of jazzy elements to it. But it's definitely like a pop rock album. It's kind of the sunshiny like pop synth rock that you kind of think you want. Yeah,
it's got a lot of energy to it.
and it makes you feel good. It was kind of teetering out between the lips, but that's always kind of one that we recommend, and that's one of the top sellers in the store. Like if we have a copy, it's gone. So yes, that's usually where I would recommend to start out.
So
guys,
it is
find them in the show, and they'll help you out. If you tell them what they like, what you like, they can probably find something that to get you in the door for Cap City.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and there is jazz, other genres, right? Like if you have we have people come in that's like, give me new wave, like a Duran Duran New Romantics kind of thing. Like, there's a side of the city pop realm. But
it really is.
Japanese music is just I still feel like I don't have a solid thing, right?
I see Joe Williams in the comments. He's like, how it takes a lot of work.
A lot of it wrong.
We should give Joe like 5 artist names that pronounce in one of his shows.
Oh, that would be great. Next time we have Joe on, we'll get 5 Japanese artists and have Joe pronounce them on the show.
Yeah, honestly, I get things wrong all the time.
You want me to get some Armenian? Should I get some?
Yeah, I see a French name and it's just give up. I'm just not even.
All right, so this is the next part of the show is where we show the new releases. But I first want to, you guys see in the upper left screen, we have D&D Collectibles. They've been in our shows. They've been buying a lot of stuff from us, so they've been really supporting us, and we want to support them because they're going to be starting on December 19th, following Gonzo on a Friday morning. They are. Where are they? They are. Where? Tell me, you guys know them. Tell us about them, because you guys met them.
Yeah, we did. We actually, well, Gonzo knew Wes prior to this, but I did go down and do the convention with Gonzo, and he introduced me to Wes. And Wes is kind of the front facing part of D&D Collectibles. That's who you're going to see on camera.
Yeah.
And behind that, David. Now we met David down there. We didn't know him, but he'd been buying from us.
David had been in our shows, and he happened to be with Wes and Glenn when I took Scott over and introduced Scott to Wes. And David just popped up when Scott and I were kind of on a back end sifting through some stuff. And we just, got in a very long conversation, which is always great when you're at record conventions because all you're talking about are records. And you pretty much went from there. And, Scott and I were kind of chatting with it. We were like, guys, y'all should seriously, if you haven't thought about it, you should really give Whatnot a try. You've got great stuff. It's one of the reasons why I took Scott over to that location in the convention, because we were there, Scott, every day. We would always end back at their
Yeah.
stand.
So they've been working on this for a couple months. You have to acquire equipment, and they have a lot of. The last question I got from them was, what weight do I put on shipping boxes? And I was like, oh yeah, all the questions that we all had when we got started. So yeah, give them they're good folk. Give them a chance. So December 19th, following Gonzo raid into them should be around 1 o'clock Eastern or so.
All right. So this is where we show who's got some new releases they want to show off.
I've got one right here next to me, which I talked about it last week, but I didn't have it to present. But I'm a big head Todd and the Monsters fan.
Boo.
We got a little Sister Sweetly RSD.
You couldn't get two, Gonzo? You couldn't get two of those?
Couldn't get two of them. Couldn't find them anywhere. I got lucky. Thank God Bruce had one because I took a chance. Went in there and he's like, yeah, Gonzo, I got one. I don't know why when I imitate Bruce, it sounds like Ace Frehley, but it just kind of sounds that way. Yeah. But he had one and I got it, thankfully. So that's like my one acquisition.
Trin and Audra, do you have anything you want to?
Oh my gosh. Well, I didn't get any like not really new records, like new releases.
No, we haven't bought.
No, they don't have to be new.
Yeah, they don't have to be new at all.
Well,
okay, well, you can look for one. I'll go.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the acoustic sound from Joe.
Oh yeah. So I am sure Joe Williamson thinks I never pay attention to him. I'll listen to a word he says, but I did pick up the on his recommendation the John Lee Hooker and the Freddie
There
King.
You go, Scott.
And I already had the Albert King. So all three records that Joe put in the Essential 500, not to be a hypocrite, I went out and bought them. So
Scott, you had to listen to Joe. I told you Freddie King getting ready.
So I got a few. Some are going to be for my store. Some are going to be for me, or for my wife, because there's Bruce Springsteen 18 tracks. I've wanted it, but I don't want to pay shipping, and I found it in a local store for $10. So
I used to have it on cassette.
Yeah, I have it on CD too. But so she's a huge Bruce Springsteen fan, so I got that for her. This one's for the shop, since Gonzo's going to be doing the top 5 Bond. I
am
the best of Bond. It was appropriate. Also,
I bet they've got it all wrong.
Anything, I've always made fun of them because it seems like every week, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, that every week they have a new record that comes out.
Yeah,
pretty much seems like it. And every time I get one, they're gone. They're like, choop, gone. So I picked up another one. This one's cool because it's cut.
Die cut?
Yeah, die cut.
That's cool. They always have a cool album cover.
Yeah. Then I got another. This is the 30th anniversary of the Cult.
Oh,
there you
go.
And then here is an OG copy of the Cult.
Go ahead and mail that to me, buddy. Appreciate it. Merry Christmas to me.
You got one.
Then I have this really mediocre record. This mediocre record that I really don't. Oasis.
Yes, let's go.
I don't think I've actually on purpose listened to Oasis ever.
Dude, the Nebworth show was iconic.
Yeah, it was on it's like my Whamageddon got destroyed on last Friday.
Sean, I hear that record sounds best if you just leave it sealed.
I hear it sounds best if you play a Yoko Ono record in its place.
Okay.
Blasphemy.
Just go ahead. There you go. Your turn now. I showed mine.
I forgot. I just got a copy of Right on Time. Yeah, I finally got my forever copy. So we're showing off my copy today. And as why not? So those are two that
you also got a copy of For You for yourself also.
Yeah. I have
Yamashi collection.
It's when you get the bus for Tostro.
Yep. You see my buddy here over here.
Honestly, I'm going to tell you, Takanaka is this huge forest god, and that was my first Takanaka release. Yeah, I absolutely love that Christmas EP. He knocks it out of the park. Like, I know that he has all these really expensive records, but you should start with Santa Claus is Coming. Yeah.
It's impossible really to find a copy of that anymore.
Well, it's
It's so hard.
his stuff is so in demand right now. So
Yeah.
that's a great Christmas one to have.
Cool. Let's see. Anyone else? I think we've all covered that. So the next part of the show is where we do the top 500 essential studio albums, and we usually let the guest go first. So you can present your first one, and then we'll go around.
Oh yeah. So we'll just. I know we were talking about Totsura, but I am gonna mix it up because I think this is just such an important one to talk about. This is gonna be Ichi Otaki's A Long Vacation. Artwork is also essential. This is Hiroshi Nagai, who is such an important city pop artist. If you ever kind of see, if you kind of see like the beach scenes that look like that, that's him. It's pretty iconic.
It's the aesthetic for the entire genre, really.
The album really, I just think, shows how much of a great songwriter Ichi Otaki was. He
A student of Brian Wilson at heart. Master of melodies.
He really loved American music, and I think that's what you kind of hear coming through here is Brian Wilson and the Beatles and everything else that he grew up listening to. Like, he listened to this stuff and it completely inspired him to become a songwriter. And he produced so many other works that were iconic during the time period, but he released this album. It ends up being like one of the biggest selling albums in Japan, period.
Ever.
Like, it is, I think it's kind of like the Japanese Rumors, right? There's a lot of different pressings of it. They're kind of all in demand. It's kind of iconic. And it's just a solid album. Like, when people come into the store and they say, give me a recommendation, I'm like, I think this album is just an album that should be in your collection. Like, even if you don't collect city pop, this is just a collection piece, like for a well-rounded collection.
This one's the high-end audiophile edition.
Yeah, that's
Master Sound. I noticed that.
Yeah. Personal copy.
If you don't have a master sound, you gotta get a master sound. I've been telling people this for years.
Master sounds are great. They are.
But really, it's a great starting point. It's really reflective of his genius and kind of just him being probably one of the best songwriters.
It really is also an introduction to an entire scene, because ultimately city pop really was a scene. A lot of these musicians knew each other. They were working with each other as studio musicians on each other's albums and for different labels and varying products and projects. So I mean, he worked with so many amazing artists.
It's always fun to look at liner notes. They were always in and out of the studio with each other, and he's part of so many other like iconic Japanese bands. Kind of when you go through the end of it, Happy End, his work with Niagara, like there's just,
which really put Tatsuro Yamashita.
Yeah, and he worked with Tatsuro Yamashita. So you kind of talk about like this circle of just crazy music that came out during the time period. Tatsuro Yamashita, the king of city pop, and
they were in a time period of great economic growth and great technological advances, and for the first time in forever, people were buying music again.
So
studios were,
I think,
more than happy to pay these guys their value at the time to get them to release records.
The importance of city pop and kind of like this album is post World War II, right? You had a generation of people who were born post World War II, who were coming of age in the 80s, who kind of just knew this eternal optimism. Japan was being rebuilt. They had all this new technology, all these new like jobs, the doing great, and they were listening to American radio because there was a large occupation. And the kids growing up would do what kids do. They would find the cool music, they would listen to the radio, and they would all grow up kind of listening to these classic rock sounds. And then when they kind of come of age in the mid 70s or so, they really start developing that kind of sound. And then by the all throughout that time period, you have a great kind of like renaissance of rock and jazz, I know. But that kind of like permeated pop music, and it was almost like a reinterpretation of a lot of classic stuff that was coming, or American rock.
It was like it's like they found what was great, learned from it, and were able to make it their own.
Yeah.
You guys mentioned that City Pop had a time era. Like, so what is that? What years?
I would say it's really loose in it, because like you kind of, they had like more like jazz and like post World War II, and then there was like rock, and they were kind of developing that in like the 60s rock. But there were kind of two thoughts: that Japanese language couldn't make rock music, right? Like you couldn't sing a rock song in Japanese. So there were kind of like two schools of thoughts in up until the 70s, and then the 70s is kind of when it picks up. But I would say city pop as a sound doesn't start until like 75.
A lot of people would say
Maybe.
75, 77,
And then
somewhere in that
it
area.
kind of goes up through 89, which is kind of the
The end of the show era.
Grunge killed everything.
Well, their bubble, like they had a huge bubble economy, right?
Yeah.
So like really doing really well post World War II build up, and then in 1989 things kind of collapsed, and they went into this more stagnant economic period, and it completely changed the sound and what the consumers demanded, right, in the time period.
Not that a lot of rock sounds were not prevalent throughout the 70s and the 80s during the city pop.
There was there's still, I think it's really interesting when we talk about Japanese music, because city pop is not like a monolith that carried the country, right? There were rock scenes and punk scenes and idol pop, which is a whole other thing that was going on during the time. Jazz,
metal.
They had a whole metal scene that I feel like I don't know enough about, but yeah, it really kind of mirrors like what we see in America and in the West, for like the diversity that they had in sounds too. So
yeah.
But I would
see the passion, guys. See the passion. It's amazing. The passion they have for
exposing people to a whole new world tonight.
Yeah, and I hope if you take anything from it, like just definitely go check out a couple tracks. Like it's I listen to it every day.
Come in and tell me to be quiet. I just want to listen to the song.
Yeah.
And they have the Spotify and Apple playlist that you can listen to some of their music.
Matt, hopefully soon. So
I wonder if we're probably going to start redoing the YouTube playlist too.
We were doing like a YouTube playlist too for that. But yeah, I would definitely this is on streaming. Ichiotaki's Long Vacation. Go listen. Put on some good headphones. If you need a copy, sometimes we have one at the store. Been known to carry a few.
But that's definitely for fans of the Beach Boys, Bruce Springsteen, the Beatles.
Yes. Yeah.
Very classic rock sound. An amazing artist.
Beautiful album.
Yeah.
Trin, how hard do you jam out to Heavy Metal Army 1?
I don't think I've ever jammed out.
I do love.
You have got to jam out to this.
I don't think I've ever jammed out.
I do love the album.
I do like the album cover. Great T-shirt that I would have had when I was like 9 or 10.
Yes.
I would wear it now, even if it didn't fit.
Do
you know anything about Heavy Metal Army?
No.
I don't.
No. I'm afraid I don't.
Japanese band, pretty hardcore. I played it. I don't know if y'all were in the show the one night I played it, but man, it's killer.
Is it better than my Baby Metal?
It kills your Baby Metal. Oh yeah.
It's different, and I guarantee it's probably much more of like a more of a thrashing kind of metal sound. So it like different than maybe some of the stuff that we have in the shop from time to time, like X-Ray and Akira Takasaki. Is it Takasaki's Tusk of Jaguar? Which is more
so there's so much, and like there's like a couple of like huge name in Japanese metal.
Shigematsu.
Yeah. And it's this whole culture.
Shigematsu was so popular.
I mean, that with metal anyways. I just feel like I'm not really connected with the metal scene, so I think that might be.
It's all right.
Sorry.
All right. Who wants to go next? Jake, you want to go next?
Yeah, why not? I'll sit in the number D spot. We're going to start it off with a 15-time Grammy Award-winning band, one of my favorite bands of the 90s. We did what, last week? 80s, Scott? I was kind of in 1988 last week. Big year for the Gonzinator. I was 11 years old then. I think that year I saw Big Business with Lily Tomlin and Bette Midler at the Dollar Cinema. It was a big year of music, 88. Now I'm taking it to the 90s, and I'm going to start it out with an album that came out July 4th, the 4th, 1995, and that is the Foo Fighters' self-titled. Scott got all over me when I presented this. I just want to make sure everybody is aware of that. Scott was not thrilled. Look at his face. Look at the intensity, y'all. Not thrilled with this pick. He wanted the color and the shape, and I gave him my blessing that he can present that album when he does it. This record's important to me for a few reasons. Okay, for those of you who aren't really maybe aware, right? Dave Grohl had been writing a lot of songs during the time he was touring with Nirvana, when he was just more or less their drummer. And, he would take a guitar with him, would write songs. And it's crazy because, and he has said this in some interview footage, he wrote a lot of songs, but he was too intimidated to bring them up to Kurt Cobain because he was so in awe of Kurt's writing that he just it's like a George Harrison kind of moment, right? He just stockpiled songs. So when they disbanded after Kurt Cobain's death, basically what he did was, there was a time where Dave Grohl was just kind of like, what the hell am I going to do? And what's crazy, some people might not know this, but there were rumors. I remember this. There were rumors that were going around that he was going to be the next drummer of Pearl Jam, which I thought he was. I remember everybody talking about it, and that never happened. But one thing I didn't know, and this is crazy, is he almost accepted Tom Petty's invitation to be their drummer for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And Dave Grohl turned it down. Instead, what he did is he finally went into the studio. And again, what I love about this record is that Dave Grohl pretty much did the entire record himself, minus a few guitar parts here and there. But he wrote all the songs. He basically played all the instruments. And this album was recorded in less than a week. I think it was recorded in 6 days. It did relatively well. He originally did not want to, he wanted to kind of go under the radar. He didn't really want people knowing that it was him. He wanted the idea of putting this record out and essentially coming in and having people think that, it's a whole band effort, which no one realized that, he was Foo Fighters. And that was just a working title that he used. And it stuck. And I think he's gone on saying that it's the worst band name you could ever imagine, Foo Fighters. But prior to that, he had released a demo called Pocket Watch that had a bunch of demos that was under the album name. The name he used was, I think Late might have been the name of it. But huge songs on this record, man. This Is a Call, I'll Stick Around. Big Me, it peaked at number 23 in the Billboard 200. This Is a Call was number 1 on alternative songs. I'll Stick Around was number 10. I'll Stick Around was the very first song that I was introduced to with the Foo Fighters, just the MTV music video when they basically were just jamming out in front of this glob of crap, whatever the hell that thing was. I just called it the glob of crap that just would just float, looked like it had hair on it.
94.
Say what, Trin?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's crazy is it didn't receive any major awards or anything, but this album, I love it because it's so damn raw. and it's pure Dave, you know. And Color and the Shape, I'm going to let Scott, when he presents it, I'm going to let him do it. But like I told Scott, Color and the Shape, phenomenal record. I mean, their first three were great. Their first two, by far, my favorites. Color and the Shape had great songs on it, but it was more produced. This was a little bit more raw, a little bit more hardcore, and it was just, you know, Dave Grohl's introduction of Dave coming out and being Dave Grohl as opposed to a drummer. You really got to see, you know, who he was and is as a songwriter, as a musician, you know, multi-instruments. Guy's a badass. That's my number one record to start it off. Foo Fighters, self-titled.
All right.
All right.
Your
Yeah,
turn.
I got to step in before I do my record. Foo Fighters, like, that's their third best record. So we will be presenting some additional Foo Fighters down.
I love how he's just like, that record's crap.
Yeah,
We'll do two others.
the
I don't
Fighters
like-
of Foo.
Yeah, well, you guys know I have a propensity to how a record sounds. I don't like how that record sounds.
I love it.
But Color and Shape, and There Is Nothing Left to Lose, in my opinion, are better records. It was Jake's pick.
I will say this, Scott. My favorite record, believe it or not, on the Color and Shape is February Stars. Great song. Love it. For whatever reason, it was always my number one. Hero I love, but February Stars, great track on that. It's a great record. I'm not denying it.
It's the third best of theirs, apparently.
It's third best. At best. I think, what is the Medicine record? That was a great record.
As Ed Rooney said, thanks, Grace. I think you're wrong.
All right. My turn. We're going to do this one. So, and I brought the Japanese press in honor of our guest tonight.
It's a nice copy.
Show off.
The big head.
I don't really keep complete track of which album sells the most, but this would have to be in the top 10. I have sold a lot of Asia self-titled, and it's such a great record. 1982 on the record. I think this was, not that there was a lot of examples of this, but I'm going to call this prog pop. So if you're like me, who don't get me wrong, Yes fans, King Crimson fans, and prog fans, like, sometimes they do go on about themselves a long time on some of these songs, and they kind of I lose my attention in these 8-minute songs. So I really appreciated Asia, because with Asia, you're getting the 4.5 minute song that is very proggy. The sound is prog, but they've wrapped it around a nice little shiny sheen of power pop rock. And it was unlike anything I was listening to at the time. As soon as I heard Heat of the Moment the first time, I was like, who is this? And then got the record, and every, you know, I'm going to look at the track list here. Heat of the Moment was first single. Soul Survivor was the second single. And Heat of the Moment was so popular that Soul Survivor and Heat of the Moment were in the top 10 at the same time. I tell everybody, this was my first concert, 1982. And I guess they made the decision, because Asia is made up of members that were in other bands. Steve Howe from Yes, John Wheaton from King Crimson, Carl Palmer from Emerson, Lake of Palmer, and this is the kind of weird one, Jeffrey Downs of the Buggles. But they decided that they weren't going to play anybody else's music, only theirs. So they only had 10 songs. So when I saw them in concert, they actually started the concert with Heat of the Moment, and they ended the concert with the Heat of the Moment. I thought, well, that's a good decision if you're only going to play your own songs. Great concert, and this record is so great. Only Time Will Tell. Another great song on here. And let me look at the other side here real quick. By the way, EX on the wax here. Wildest Dreams was the other big single on here. But even the album cuts, Cutting It Fine, Without You, Here Comes the Feeling. This is just a really solid record that, would be probably in my top 50 favorite records of all time. I'm not saying it's one of the 50 best records. It's one of the 50 that I like. So, tonight we're going to add Asia, self-titled, to the 500.
All right. Cool. Mine, you guys know I like to bring the ones that you can get for under $10. So this is my under 10 banger. But definitely this was the fourth record of this particular artist. I like to talk about him and then show him. First two albums were more UK, and his third album was Mona Bone Jacone or whatever it is. It's
Mona Jackin.
Is that how you say it?
It's Mona Bone Jackin.
All right, see, there you go.
I don't think that's right.
It is.
So it's Cat Stevens, T for Tillerman. Definitely, his first two albums had a lot of layers to it, where this really kind of went to really a simple, folky storytelling album. I mean, the first song is "Where Did the Children Play?" Hard-Headed Woman, Wild World, which you listen to that song and it's just amazing. We were listening to it when they had the 50th anniversary. They changed some of the songs of the way they did them. Like Father and Son's a great song on the 50th anniversary. He plays the father as him now, and has the original vocals of him as the son.
One of my favorite songs. So good.
This came out in 1970. I was -3 at that point. Produced by Cat Stevens and Paul Samwith Smith. Over 1 million copies have sold. And how many times do you think they've resold? Probably 10 million times. Peaked at number 8 in the Billboard 200. Wild World was 11. Father and Son was in the 20 adult contemporary. But it's just an amazing, because I was listening to him interview him talking about it, and if you watch old interviews, he seemed like, I don't know if it's like, I'm so cool and you're not. I don't know. It was just these weird. If you go look back some videos of him talking, but now I was watching him being interviewed at 50 years after, and he's just like the coolest, calmest guy on the planet. But definitely those under $10 bangers are right here. This is one. So I think everyone should have one of these. I think probably almost everybody does. And again, you could probably get one for $5 or less anywhere in the world.
Have one. I don't have a forever copy of it yet.
Such a good one though. That is like a good crate digging find.
Yeah. And he did the artwork on the cover.
I did not know that.
Yeah. He went to art school or something at some point.
And you probably only have to dig 50 of them before you find a clean one, but they're out there.
Yeah. So get that one.
Would you say he's a cool cat?
He's a cool cat. Although now he's he's a cool cat. But especially if you watch the videos of him interview him, they're talking to him. I mean, he's just like the coolest cat. And he's just it's pretty interesting. Just that's why I love YouTube. I mean, I don't need cable anymore. Just watch YouTube. There's so much great stuff. Longer boats.
I do the same thing, Sean.
Yeah. So there you go. That's my pick. Now we go back to the guests so they can go to their next pick, which I don't believe I have that one, but
no. So this is
I think so.
The next one is probably, so in kind of like the resurgence, which we've talked about with City Pop, the big lead track that kind of started it all was Plastic Love. It's a track by Marie Takeuchi, who's married to Tatsuro Yamashita. But there was a second big track that's kind of out of this, and it's gone viral and it's big in the community, and it's a track by Miki Matsubara, who definitely has her own story.
Yeah, and it was also a huge track when it was released.
Oh
too.
yeah, definitely. This is Miki Matsubara's Pocket Park, which features I would say the smash hit. There's additional tracks on here which I think are like that good, but Stay With Me is the big track on here. really and Mickey Matsubara has become kind of like a major figure in city pop and like the revival. She has a very tragic story. She dies like really young in her 40s due to ovarian cancer, like cuts her career short. She's still active, and she doesn't get a chance to kind of see this rebirth. Same thing with Ichio Taki, who died in 2012. But these amazing singer and songwriters and performers, these two anyways, didn't get really a chance to see like what their like how their work has been grown to like be appreciated like even further than Japan, right? Like we kind of had this global appeal at this point.
They'll
And
never know. She'll never know the true impact of her work.
This is such a solid piece, an example of city pop. Highly recommend checking out Mickey Matsubara. One of the best voices, I think, in city pop as well. So
And it's a no skip album.
it is like it starts out strong. It's one of those ones that starts off with like heat of the moment. Did they start with heat of the moment? But you know, it starts with just like a hard hitting track, and then the whole album is solid though. So I highly recommend
a consistent boogie woogie banger from start to finish.
If somebody's gonna recommend like 5 like city pop tracks like to go listen to go experience, Stay With Me is going to be there. It's kind of sad but like funky song. So I highly recommend checking it out.
And it sold over 100,000 copies of its initial single release in 1979.
Yes.
And which also led into this album debuting so high on the Japanese charts, selling over 228,000 copies.
See, I'm not good with the numbers.
That has to be a lot for a Japanese release, right?
I think so. And like you look a lot of they had both Japanese and then they had like their like US charts. So like what selling you know there, because like, you know, of course Western music was incredibly popular there. Like they were just selling a lot of records. Like absolutely crazy the amount of vinyl that they were moving like well into the 80s.
And don't forget they had access to CDs before anybody else did. So in 1982, you started seeing CD getting pressed and released. And so there were so many different formats and options for buyers. So really for a Japanese artist, I would say to sell 100,000 records, 220,000 records. Yeah, that's probably a huge deal at the time because they were a very multicultural society.
And you got to figure they're dealing with U.S. artists selling there too. So there's
as well as African artists. There's a huge
jazz was all, you know, I think it's crazy like the amount of jazz pressings you see, right? Like there was definitely like a big foothold. Maybe, I don't know, there was a big foothold in jazz here, but
and that holdover jazz scene really kind of opened up the doors for all kinds of music from around the world to come in and for Japanese artists to put their spin on it.
Cool. All right, Jake, you are up next.
All right.
All right.
We're sticking with 1995 on number 2 record.
Oh my goodness.
4 months prior to. This album was released March 13th, 1995. This is by far my favorite Radiohead record. And that would be The Bends. This is a 1995 U.S. original press. And obviously, My Iron Lung, Fake Plastic Trees. You've got Street Spirit, Fade Out, The Bends, Just, and of course the song everybody knows, High and Dry. Did 2 million copies worldwide at time of release, which is crazy because I think this by far is probably their best effort. And Parlophone really pressured the ever-living heck out of the band after the success of Creep. They were touring extensively during this time, so the progress of this album was rather slow. It took time. But it peaked at number 88 on the Billboard Top 200. My Iron Lung was number 3 on alternative songs. And this was a very, evolution. It was an evolutional album. from Pablo Honey, this was really kind of the turn where Radiohead really started kind of making, they started bringing more, just having orchestras kind of come in and kind of bringing some of these, different types of tones as opposed to just being kind of like, that kind of punkish kind of, rock and roll band from Pablo Honey, from their first effort. This is, kind of different. And you kind of see where this album is going, which eventually goes into their third album, which a lot of people think is their best, which is OK Computer. If that's your favorite, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with you because I think their first three are magnificent. Kid A lost me. It took a long time for me to get on board with Kid A. It probably took about 5 or 6 years. So I was already kind of behind because I didn't catch on to their progression once OK Computer hit out and they moved onward. But it was the Bins was met with widespread acclaim. It is, believe it or not, considered one of the greatest albums of its era. And it did get a Grammy nomination for Best Alternative Music Album. And it is seen as a cornerstone album. And this record has influenced many artists, as Sean would say, from bands from the early, 90s and early 2000s. But short and sweet, Radiohead, the Bins. If you haven't really listened to a lot of Radiohead's earlier stuff, I suggest you do because it's so damn good. Get in there.
It also looks like those statues from Easter Island. I don't know. I always see that initially.
One of the things you said there, that Kid A kind of lost you on this one. Some of the songs from Kid A, follow up to Kid A Amnesiac, they began workshopping while touring in support of this album. So like when you hear things like Pyramid Song, its origins are from tour for Bins. A lot of those were
there you go.
And developing during this tour because of that period.
Talk about the evolution though, right? Talk about when you start stacking up like those albums and kind of the evolution of sound, but like there's such a big leap between Pablo Honey and that it,
you definitely, I agree. There are some elements of the Bins that you could say, you could probably put on Pablo Honey. Like I could have put the Bins on Pablo Honey because it kind of had a little bit of that sound, but I don't know. That's always been my thing. I've always kind of gotten into, I always say I'm a first three records kind of guy because I've always felt those, and it's not always the case, but I would say a high percentage is. Sean always laughs when I say
So how do you feel about Pink Floyd?
So Floyd is an exception.
That's why I called him last time.
Floyd is an exception to the rule, right? Because I've said this. It's very hard when you start out as a psychedelic band and the main writer, right?
It's when they were at their best.
Their main, lyricist and driver of the band, had a mental break. And if that guy is the one writing all the songs, and now you have band members that have come up to a point where they're like, well, we got to have a Brian Wilson moment here, which they've said. People thought, look, we'll have Sid write songs, and then we'll just go and we'll tour the damn record and leave him to write and do his things. But he couldn't do that. And I mean, that was even, there was even evidence of that when they were trying to produce his solo records because it was just damn near impossible to do. So for those years, basically from 67 after Piper all the way to Metal, which was 71, they're finding themselves. But once they hit it with Metal, everything beyond that is gold. So Sean,
wasn't like one of Roger Waters' biggest like writing influences though. What did?
Yes. In fact, a lot of what he wrote, Trin, like the topics that he discussed or would write about generally had to do with him in some form or fashion. from from Dark Side of the Moon all the way to The Wall, and probably even bits of the final cut.
All
I
right.
guess
So
great loss in it that he felt.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine
They all did.
I imagine it's I always think about that, like when you think of like a band and like all these people like depend on this income and this career and like this is what they're going to do, and then all of a sudden if one of the main people or if main person like can't do it, like that, just what is everybody else supposed to do?
That's right.
And instances they try to pick up the pieces and it doesn't work.
And think about that. That happened 2 times with the band. That happened when Sid lost, when he basically went mad. And then when Roger Waters quit the band in 85 and basically said, we are spent as a creative force, we're no longer Pink Floyd. And now you have David Gilmour and company saying, that's not happening. We're going to move forward. So they had to reinvent themselves a 3rd time. So it's a testament to them, to how great they are.
So what was the album you were showing?
Pink Floyd, The Bends.
All right, we're gonna move along now, and it's Scott's turn now.
Well, I forgot what I was doing. What am I doing? Oh, okay.
Everything comes back to Pink Floyd.
No, you started it. You started it, Sean, over there just giggling with your Burt Reynolds laugh.
All right, we're going to come forward to 2015. And I love this stuff because I get to show off all the records I don't sell because I sell classic rock. But we're going to go a little modern, and I have to admit, I'm a fan. Nothing against Green Day. I like Green Day. American Idiot's brilliant. I like Dookie. I like Green Day. But my power punk, punk rock, whatever you want to call them, band of choice is actually Fall Out Boy. So big fan of Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, Bowling for Soup, Ataris. I like that. So, and this record, they had a great moment when they broke out, right? Sugar, I'm going down. Big song. That record, what is it? Something Cork Tree or something. Sold a lot. But then record sales started declining for them, and their popularity was declining till this record. And this record is just so good. I think they really got focused and said, "Hey, we need to do it." It's chock full of. There are no slow songs. They're just power punk, pop punk anthems. Centuries, Irresistible. And if you look at like the charts for back in when this was released, singles were still getting bought off of streaming services, and they had so many of these songs actually go platinum off of single downloads. The album did sell 1 million, but I think that's a kind of low indicator of how popular the record was. So this is 2015, as I said. Centuries. I think that wasn't that in one of those Transformer movies. I think it was from one of the Transformer movies. But probably even bigger song on here, Uma Thurman. But great album cuts like Novocaine, 4th of July is on here. So I like it. This record sounds great, well produced, big sound, a lot. It's just a lot of fun. I mean, there's not anything in here that's going to make you go, It's just you put it on, it's really enjoyable. So we'll go Fall Out Boy, American Beauty, American Psycho is the name of the record.
All right, thank you. Now I'm going back to. It seems like I'm stuck in the 70s. My next album is one of the groups that names changes constantly. They like each other, they hate each other. Only 2 of them hang out together, then the other 2 hang out together, and you never know which one you're gonna get.
Starship.
And that's Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Yes.
Deja Vu. And again, you never know. And then there was 2 other guys on there. There's 2 other guys listening, and none of us ever say their name.
That is their bass player and their drummer.
Well, but no one ever talks about. You never see him ever again on a cover, do you? Probably not. Because sometimes they're Crosby Nash, sometimes they're Stills and Nash, Stills and Young, Young and Nash, and they seem like they always hated each other or hated at different points to their
It's
career.
just so hard to bring all the kids to holidays.
It's kind of sad, but I mean, this is kind of the super group, and of course, there's prima donna super group because they, every once in a while they hated each other, or still do, or although some are dead now. But it's an amazing album. I mean, you have Our House. I mean, there's just so. I just lost my thing. Not that I need it, but
Deja Vu, great song.
Yeah, and they're all great songs. The harmonies together are amazing. And probably as soon as they're finished recording, they probably punch each other in the face. But you got Woodstock, which was written by
Joni Mitchell,
right? Who did the cover art for their greatest hits, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is true. Yes.
So the album peaked at number one on the Billboard 200. Woodstock was number 11. Our House was 30, which for some reason you wouldn't think it would have been Woodstock, but I guess the time it came out, 1970, so close to Woodstock, and just the folk, the rock, and of course, musicians talking about politics. It's definitely social commentary, which people get mad. Why isn't ours? They've always been doing it, guys. Especially when you have this guy here involved, Young. You're always going to have that. From back then in the 70s to now, why is Neil Young into artists always have been. That's half this singing. But again, this one you can find it for under 10, but when you do, they're usually pretty beat up. So spend a little extra, get a nice copy of this. And if you don't already have it, this is definitely an essential. And I'm keeping it short this week because usually I have commentary like long stories, but this week I'm keeping it simple.
Our House, great song. Graham Nash wrote that pretty much when he and Joni Mitchell were an item together, and he kind of wrote that about them.
And how'd that work
out? If you watch interviews about Graham Nash talk about it, I think it was a relationship that he probably wished would have lasted, but did not. I think she, huh?
That's what happens in music. It doesn't. You got people touring, going all different directions.
But I mean, you think like Graham Nash and David Crosby. I mean, they were super tight, and there was a lot of clashing. Obviously, like you said, a lot of that was David Crosby. I mean, it's no secret about his ego and just kind of what he did with the band. But he is an important figure. I think all of them are very important. Having Neil Young coming in and out of the band, because he would come in for that record and then he would leave and do his thing, and then he would come back and then he would go. They just kind of came and left as they wanted to. But man, when they got in a studio and made music, man, it was magic. Unbelievable magic. The harmonies cannot be beat.
All right, so that's mine, and again, you can get them pretty cheap. But if it's under 10, it's probably going to be a little noisy, maybe. But
I'd say
that always comes. You see it in two different covers, like the purple or the brown.
It's more brown, I think.
Yeah, but
Sean, what did I get from you? I got it was a white. It was like a newer reissue.
It was Deja Vu with alternate takes of that. Probably.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I haven't even listened to it yet.
It's good. You need to listen. All right, so now we're back to our guests with their last selection.
Man, this one, the whole thing was like really tough. And the last one's Tatsuro Yamashita, and that one was exceptionally
There's
tough.
a lot of debate, philosophical talk, and inward soul.
He's called the king of city pop for a reason. Kind of has this huge lengthy career, has a huge run of absolutely top line albums,
still releasing records that are still selling well.
Yes. And really just has such an impact in Japanese music in general. he just did the, what was it, Pokemon Concierge
Yeah, he did the
theme
Pokemon
song. Like,
Concierge
he's
theme
still
song for
active.
Netflix.
He did Fuji Rock, which is like a huge festival with his wife, Maria Takeuchi. I did like a big performance. So we picked arguably might be his best work depending on the day. This is Tatsuro Yamashida's Right on Time, which has the title track Right on Time, which is iconic. The thing that sucks about Tatsuro, also his strength, is none of his stuff's on streaming. So he is definitely a physical media guy. You get the albums, you get the CD. That's the best way. That's the best way to listen to it. This is one of the best selling albums I think that he had in general.
As a matter of fact, yeah, the single went #1. The album went #1.
And it's tied to this huge commercial campaign with Maxell. You can see kind of all of his advertisements, cassettes, right? So there was definitely kind of this big push for this album as well.
They actually recreated this scene, or the scene for the 7-inch single that's on the cover of him and standing in the ocean in the sunset doing the gunpoint, for that Maxell commercial, as a matter of fact.
Well, yeah, the Maxell commercial is that. There's one, and then if you open, this is like a really interesting one because the OB is actually like a complete like wraparound. So it's like a cover, and then the album is completely in there. But like, Mr. Tatsuro Yamashita is really just probably one of the most I would say he's like one of the most celebrated.
Yes,
in general. And I really feel like it took me a while personally to get into him because simply he was just such a big name, right? Trin definitely listens to a different side of things when we're first starting out. Trin listens to a lot of J-pop, a lot of like idol pop.
Synth pop fan.
And so, we both had kind of like different paths of discovery, and I have recently fallen down a major Tatsuro hole, but it is pretty, I think, integral for like any city pop collector to have a good chunk of Tatsuro
When
in their
you're getting
collection.
into city pop as a vinyl collector, he's going to be one of the first names that you hear about in those communities. It's going to be his albums are going to be some of the first ones that people talk about.
So good
because his sound and his style is genre defining.
Yeah, that's such a good way of putting it. Like he is
Ichi Otaki and Brian Wilson and American Western rock and roll sounds and funk and disco, and putting it all together into this harmonious project. He spent years making this record and its follow-up, For You. Also,
that was on the short list as well.
Shortlisted.
Just solid albums that you cannot. Honestly, it's hard because they're kind of like almost like interchangeable. And
you're trying to make it a twofer.
Yeah,
combine them to one.
Yeah. We could put a whole, but we could just cram.
You could
throw in there about some more. We could just kind of sneak in.
And it's cool that he's walking in an active volcano too.
It's actually like a part of this, like hot spring. I believe it's like kind of like a big, like kind of like, I don't know if it's like I don't know if park is like, but it's like a huge area that is traveled to and visited in Japan, and like the sulfur springs. So if you watch, I added it to your all's Discord, but if you watch the commercial, it's actually like a really cool commercial. Like he has all these like little 15-second bumpers with this, and it's such a good clip for a commercial because he has these great kind of Beach Boy Brian Wilson like melody. I'm not going to try to sing it because I just don't want it on YouTube
like
forever.
A Jerry Rapp, like a Jerry Rapp kind of like city to city kind of moment.
You can kind of automatically like you just want to sing it like when like it's
hard not to actually say the title. It's harder to not sing the title every time you think about the song.
But yeah, this is, I would say, like definitely on the short list of all like city pop, like in general. Like this is also like a one to start. There have been like reissues of this as well, but this is one of the best selling albums in Japan. And I know that we always talk about how like Japanese vinyl is typically clean. There are some albums of this that are very well loved. Like you tell people played this record.
Yeah, this one got a lot of attention.
and it's worth it. It's definitely it's a great example of the genre, and just his work in general.
Right. And
So.
they can be there in demand. They can, as for collectors, they can be a little hard to come by from time to time. It's something that you are going to have to
with
put
that big obi,
right.
the giant obi on so.
That's a cool cover. Such a cool cover.
Honestly, I think it's very iconic, and like even on the inside one with where he's like, I don't know, he's
I think he's
doing
doing the Charleston.
like he's like all like crumpled in or whatever.
You can't do the Charleston on an album.
So this is in Japanese, and he this like a part of in 1970 there was actually like it was Hosono and Ichio Taki and Yu Uchida and a few other like major Japanese rockers, the people who are writing and making songs at the time period. They kind of had this meeting, and there were people saying like, hey, you can't sing American rock music with Japanese language.
Well, you can't write rock music in
it's
Japanese.
Not going to work. Like, just don't do it. And then there were artists saying like, no, like we can do it. And
He was one of them.
Yes. Like, honestly, there are a few just amazing songwriters that came from that generation that made some iconic tracks that I think like as we kind of get like more into the like macro view and pull out from that time period that I think should be classified as classic rock. Like, right, these people should be in people's collections and viewed under the microscope of just like the amazing music that they made during that time period.
It should be enough to defy border and limitations of genre as much as like Right on Time and say even A Long Vacation are true classic rock albums.
Yes, agreed. He does beautiful voice in Japanese too. So like he rocks it out. But yes, just check out the commercial because it's enough to kind of
and if that's not enough to convince you to explore his work, even though I know that he does put up so many fronts to challenge you. Plastic Love. His wife, Maria Takeuchi. The song that brought this music to the rest of the world, really. He wrote that song. He wrote the majority of this album for her. So
they're like the power city pop couple, like, you know, and very private.
And Jay-Z,
which I absolutely like. You don't really know a whole lot about Tatsuro Yamashita outside of what he wants you to know. So, yeah.
So Jake, you're up, I think, next.
Last record of the night. I think we're going to keep with the Pink Floyd train, and we're going to go with Pink Floyd Purple. Pink Floyd Purple. There was the Division Bell, and then there was Purple, which no one ever knew. So Stone Temple Pilots, Purple, released June 7th, 1994 at a lovely 41 minutes and 18 seconds long. You know, something about Stone Temple Pilots, when STP came out with their debut album Core, man, I was all about it. I love this band from the very first song I heard on the radio station. And what I realized over the last, I don't know, maybe the last 10 years is how much the critics just could not stand Stone Temple Pilots. They, you know, would ridicule them and basically said they were fraud, that, you know, they, you know, would make attempts at being grunge and trying to copy Pearl Jam and a lot of the grunge bands of the early 90s. And here's the thing, y'all. I think that is far from truth. I think that they really established themselves in their own right. They are amazing musicians. Before they were Stone Temple Pilots, you might not know this, they were a band called Mighty Joe Young. But they had to change their name because there was already a Mighty Joe Young in existence. And Scott Whelan, my ex-fiance, knew Scott Whelan very well when they were Mighty Joe Young. And I remember she told me one time, she's like, you know, Scott Whelan, he used to yodel a lot. And I'm like, no way. She had an early demo tape of Mighty Joe Young, and she played it for me, and he yodeled, and it's the craziest thing I've ever heard. But I always liked these guys when they came out. The hits we all know, Vaseline, Big Empty, Interstate Love Song. It did extremely well. It sold 7 million copies worldwide, did 6 million in the US. Vaseline was number one on the modern rock tracks. Interstate Love Song was number one on mainstream rock tracks. My favorite song on the record, of course, was Big Empty, but I first heard that song off of one of the greatest soundtracks of all time, which would be the original motion picture soundtrack of The Crow, which was Brandon Lee's last movie. Oddly enough, when I was filming a commercial with Chevy, our director on that spot at the time was a second director for The Crow. So we actually had like a real good conversation while we were in midst of shooting. And he basically talked to me about the whole night that Brandon Lee was killed, although he was filming different segments, not in the main room when Brandon Lee was killed. But that was a great song, which really got me excited to buy the record. I've always felt that this album really played a significant role just, in the sound of that late 90s kind of grunge alternative, because by this time they were really kind of turning more to that alternative sound. That's where grunge really went. Grunge never kind of went away. It just got refined and became alternative.
Evolved.
Right. And from there, I liked their records after. There were a few bits and pieces here or there, but I think really their first two for me were really what kind of made me love them as much as I did and still do. Whelan was such a great front man, sorely missed. Wish he was still around, but unfortunately was rock and roll stars.
So you're saying it's not the first three, it was just the first two.
For me with this, first two for SDP. First two.
Sean's calling you out.
Yeah.
That first three is such bull crap anyway. So.
Well, that's a matter of opinion, but it's all
that's
good.
Fact.
I'm sorry, Jake. I don't mean to pick on you.
Trin,
Yes, I do.
I could see. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's talk about although I think that sounds to be more of I care for the albums.
Cutting out a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
All right, so Scott, you're next.
Okay, so we're going to go back to 1987. And I got to preface this by saying I'm no expert on this group. I was not with them when they started. It's something I went back and said, oh, you know what? I miss these folks and miss big on them. So that record is going to be 1987, The Cure, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. And this pick is kind of non-typical for me because usually I would be critical of a record that had 14 songs and didn't really have a theme that came together or a sound. You hop from one extreme to the other, which each song that comes on. But by God, they make this work. It is so interesting. It starts out with Kiss Me, which is like 3 minutes of echoing guitar with wah-wah on it, which is not something, The Cure did a lot. I think everybody knows Robert Smith's guitar style, a kind of signature sound. But I was listening to that and I said, I guarantee you the Edge owned this record and he loved this opening track, because if you look at the next three records you two did, that was the sound that they were going for on Octum Baby, Zooropa, Pop. That was that drenched in feedback and the song structure. Like that opening song is 3.5 minutes of just this guitar, bass line, drums, and then like 1 minute of lyrics and then an outro. And that's the song. But I love that song. It's very interesting. But then you jump into this light song next. The album did have a big single on it, Just Like Heaven. was big, and I did hear that back in the day, and I knew love songs, so I knew the bigger hits by The Cure. But why can't I be you and Hey You and Hot Hot? I would say all those songs are great. And they have different sounds. You know, Hot 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 is like almost like this R&B guitar in it. Classic R&B, like chic sounding type. So kudos to that because they can't. This record, even though it's 14 songs long, save one or two, it keeps my attention and the good songs are really, really good on it. So it's hard when you look at The Cure because I really like Pornography and Disintegration too. But I thought, you know, you get a little bit of maybe not as much goth on this one. They're kind of like goth alternative rock, but you can hear a lot of future artist sound on this record. I think they're very influential in the sound. So that's why I brought this forward to be the recommendation. And what I love about The Cure, when I think about The Cure, it might be the one band I always think that what instrument do I think about first? It's the bass. Boom, 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 boom. I like all their hit songs. They don't have the same rhythm, but it's bass rhythm that carries those singles. And I don't know another rock band that's the case. So anyway, pick it up. 1987. It sold a couple million worldwide. It's a great listening experience. If you're going to get into The Cure, I thought this one might be the best one to put forward. So Kiss Me, Kiss Me. Check it out.
I gotta say, I totally agree. Fighting all theatrical record. It really play. He's a huge Hendrix. Are we cutting?
Yeah, you're cutting out.
Yeah.
I feel like you're saying something very important, but
yeah, I'll tinker with that.
Yeah.
Okay, am I not connected?
You're
Ain't that?
might be that you're not connected because we're getting part of what you're saying. It's almost like her mic is picking it up, but it's trying to noise cancel it because it's background noise.
Yeah, let me know on that. I'll be. Yeah.
He agrees with you, and you're awesome. That's what he was saying.
Well, he probably knows The Cure better than me, so I was really looking forward to hearing what he had to say about it.
No, are we back on? Can you hear me now?
I hear you now.
Excellent. No, I was saying a really theatrical album. It really showed how songwriters and our style.
No, cut out again.
Yeah.
Am I still gone?
There you go. Try that again. One more time, Trin.
Bad. No. Like that album, how buried they are as songwriter. It shows you how wrong of a guitar. Like I was saying, for the first student of Jimmy Hendrix, he was a shredding guitar, of it trying is dark had since like there's and Kiss Me really kind of and was it The Head on the Door, a lot more color, a lot more vibrancy to it.
Yeah. I heard most of what you said, and I think you're right on with that. And I was I never thought of this record in the way of like analyzing it. So when I picked it this week, I listened to this one because I know the other two records so well. I listened to this like 5 times, and the more I listened to it, the more analysis I was getting out of it. And like every time I liked more songs, and I found it more interesting. And when I know, I've listened to the rest of The Cure, I find this to be their most interesting album for me.
All right. So mine, I'm back to the 70s. Yes, I'm still in the 70s. This record came out when I was it came out the same year I was born. This is I was fortunate enough to see him live near the end before Toots Hibbert passed away. My choice is Toots and the Maytals' Funky Kingston. Came out in 1973. Sold about 500,000 copies in the US, 1 million worldwide. The big songs were Pressure Drop, Funky Kingston, and Pomps and Pride. And Pressure Drop, you've probably heard Robert Palmer singing that. He also was on there. They were also on the Harder They Come, that Jimmy Cliff, that movie soundtrack. Had some of these songs on here. There's some covers. There's some I don't even know what I was going to say, but it starts off with Time Tough. All great tracks. They have, although Scott might not like this, but they have Country Road, but they change it from West Virginia to West Jamaica. So I don't know if he's offended by that.
I'm okay with that license.
But Toots Hibbert had an amazing soulful. If he had an amazing voice, so he really complements all the songs on here. So I was thinking about, it's cooler to like Bob Marley. What's the number one reggae record that someone wants to get into it and start? I mean, I think the main answer would be the Legends Bob Marley, but this is probably a close second. And that's a compilation, so I don't know if it's fair to compare, but this is definitely, I almost like it than almost any Bob Marley record, which I think is hard for me to say, because Bob Marley's so cool when you want to choose Bob Marley, but Toots and Maytals, you don't want to overlook them. Toots Hibbert, actually, they sang a song called Lucky Reggae, and where do you think the name reggae came from? Toots Hibbert actually put the name of reggae into the world with their song. So definitely check this one out. Didn't receive major awards, but if you like a good reggae album or want to get into it, and it's not even because his voice is so good that it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be a reggae fan to like this album.
Yeah, they're really good. They
yeah.
are really good. I got a couple records based on your recommendation,
But
Sean.
This is definitely the one you need.
And the smart money would have been on Bob Marley being on the list first, but Toots beat him to the list. First reggae on the list.
Yeah, because it's hard for Marley, like one album, to like most of the songs. I mean, The Legend is just amazing, but there's just 2 or 3 songs for the most part that people really get into on each album of Marley, where this is just a great listen right from beginning to end. So that's on my list.
Zoom in.
The Zoom. I thought I shut off. And this one is on. I actually sold Jake an original copy of this.
I do have the original.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. So that is my pick, and that's the last one for tonight. So the next segment is going to be for Mr. Jake. And feel free to say he's wrong.
All right. Well, before we get into Jake, I want to, I feel like I've taken a lot of heat for this Van Halen thing. So I found this in my customer reviews on Whatnot. So just want to point out that Old Habits, Brian, 1984 is no better than Van Halen's 4th album. So I do want to point out that I do have some support out there.
First off, Habits gave Habits a deal on a record, and you said to him, "Listen, just when you leave me a review, go ahead and take care of me."
Because I have similar. If I had known this was happening, I do have some people writing that.
We should pull those reports up.
Yeah, why don't you pull those ones out?
Those reviews.
Because our
guys don't have them.
If you looked at the comments on our last stream, there was a gentleman. I'm not sure I don't really know who he is.
I don't even know if we want to mention the name.
Channel 910, and he said we're dead on with the 1984.
Spot on.
Number one. Yeah.
He's biased too.
Yeah. So there you go.
All right, y'all. This is get in there. Get in there. Let's get a little closer. Yeah. I've got a vision. James Bond, top 5 soundtrack songs. Damn it, y'all. This was not as easy as I thought. In fact, my number 3 pick really ruined everything. But I had to do it because it was a really good song. So how do we have it set up, guys? Do we have the top 5 first and then honorable mention, or do we have honorable mention first?
You count down. And honorable mention is last. You count down from 5 to 1. Then
Okay.
You don't want to
fair
give away the what's not on there.
So, we'll start off with number 5. And number 5, this originally was my number 3 song, and that is Duran Duran's "View to a Kill" as my number 5.
I have to say wrong already.
1985. This was Roger Moore's last attempt. I think a lot of people. I mean, we're talking songs more so. I don't necessarily want to critique the films. We can do the top Bond, actors at another time, because film being my forte. But by the time this came out, I thought Christopher Walken was a great villain. Roger Moore I think he was 57, 58. So you could definitely kind of see he was aging, was definitely aged in this one. But I really liked, you're mid 80s and you're kind of in with a hot band, and the band at the time really was Duran Duran, Madonna. I'm surprised Madonna didn't do anything in the 80s and waited way until the 90s, to do Pierce's stuff. But yeah, number 5, "A View to a Kill," Duran Duran. One of my favorite Duran Duran songs ever. Number 4. This was also one that surprised me. And it's really good. And that would be Billie Eilish, "No Time to Die." And this would be 2020? Nope. Number 4 is incorrect.
what do we got here?
Oh, well, we're
All right, we got a mistake.
Yep. So Billie Eilish is number 4, "No Time to Die." Now, what I liked about Billie Eilish is that it brought the old Bond themes back. It's a really nice, elegant song. The strings and everything about it, her voice, it just, it did it for me so much that after I listened to her song, I went back and listened to Adele's "Skyfall," and I was kind of like, there's no question. Billie Eilish, her song is 10 times better than Skyfall. Skyfall for me really didn't bring anything. I mean, Adele's got a great voice, but I don't know. The song didn't do it for me. So number 4, Billie Eilish, "No Time to Die." Number 3, very tough. This is what kind of screwed up my top 5 and probably even messed Sean up when he was putting these together, because it did throw everything in a whack, which is Carly Simon's "Nobody Does It Better," from "The Spy Who Loved Me," 1977. It's a really good song, y'all. I'm not a Carly Simon.
Did you tear up?
No, I'm not a Carly Simon fan, but the song had something to it that I liked, because it's unique. It's different from a lot of the older traditional Bond stuff, right? Like Shirley Bassey was really kind of like, in my opinion, because she did more Bond songs than any other performer, out of the 25 films. I think she did 3 or 4. As I thought, he's already screwed this up. Floyd, leave this room. But hey, Floyd, I kind of feel for you, because this one really, Carly Simon really kind of threw a wrench in the top 5. I thought my top 5 originally was really good, and a couple of songs ended up going into the honorable mention because of it, but it had to go there. It had to be at number 3. The next 2 songs are no-brainers, okay? Not going to get critiqued for this, but number 2 would be Sheena Easton's "For Your Eyes Only."
I had
Yep. "For Your Eyes Only," 1981. I was 4 years old, and I remember hearing this song for the first time. As a 4-year-old kid, I never forgot the song. It just Sheena Easton's the only artist who I would say up into that time, the only artist in the. In fact, I think she is. I don't think no other artist that did a Bond song ever previewed in the film credits in the very beginning. Sheena Easton is the only one that did. And I think she was 19 or 20 when she did that song. But I think that song was the first. So we'll get to number one, but that was really the first song that I think brought, the Bond theme songs back into the way, because it was nominated, right? So it was Oscar nominated, which was great. That was my number 2 song. Number 1, we all know. We don't have to say it.
Nice. What do you think it is?
It's never going to get beat. And that is Paul McCartney and Wings, Live and Let Die, 1973, which was Roger Moore's first intro into Bondism. So this was his first role as James Bond. Roger Moore, a lot of people I don't think liked him. He was the Bond that I grew up on, so he was my favorite for years as a kid. But what I loved about Roger Moore's portrayal of James Bond is that he brought humor to it, which I liked. I've always been a fan of comedy. I thought, the humor that he brought, he slept with more women than any other Bond that has portrayed him. But I loved his humor to everything. And this is probably also my favorite Roger Moore Bond film, which was his first. I loved View to a Kill. A lot of people panned it. I liked it. I wasn't a big fan of Moonraker. All right, James Bond in space, we don't have room for that crap.
Horrible.
Okay, we could talk about Bond movies and my top 5 Bond. We'll do that another time. Let's talk about honorable mention. Okay. Jack White and Alicia Keys, Another Way to Die. I like the duo. And it was tough, man. I really listened to this and took my time, because if I really just would have put stuff together, I would have put all the newer stuff, all the rock stuff away. Tom Jones did not make this list. Nancy Sinatra, You Only Live Twice. This was originally my number 5 song, and it still pains me that I've got it in honorable mention, but we'll just go ahead and do it. There are 2 of them. And this one's Aha's The Living Daylights. Damn it, I love T-Dalt. I love Timothy Dalton's Bond. Like I was telling them earlier before the show, Timothy Dalton is underrated. And what I loved about him is he's a very angry, moody Bond, which I liked. But he was more or less a shoe-in because they tried to get Pierce Brosnan to be Bond then, but he was under, contract obligations with Remington Steele, couldn't do it, so they put a Shakespearean actor in his place. I thought T. Dalt did a good job. Gladys Knight's A License to Kill. This was also one that I probably would have had in my top 5 because she has such a beautiful and powerful voice, and the soul, like there's no other Bond song like it. It's really, really good. This was Timothy Dalton's last picture as James Bond from 1989. We've got Louis Armstrong's All the Time in the World. And then, of course, Shirley Bassey's Diamonds Are Forever, which is probably my favorite Shirley Bassey song. Adele didn't make it, Stacy. Nope. It just didn't do it for me. When I listen to Billie Eilish, I'm like, Adele, there are just other songs that I like. Skyfall, I don't know. For whatever reason, it didn't jive with me. But a lot of these others did. But at the end of the world, or at the end of the day, a lot harder than I thought. The 1 and 2 were easy, but 3 through 5 in the honorable mentions were tougher than I thought. But a quick top 5, I was not impressed.
All right. Well, you got confirmation from my daughter that Whitney is my daughter. So, and she's a Bond expert, and she's a dedicated Bond expert. because when she was younger, she watched all the Bonds, not just watched them.
I watch them every
on
time the
TNT.
marathon comes on.
It takes 5 hours to watch a movie on TNT with all the
It
commercials.
does.
And she watched them all. And she said Live and Let Die is number 1 too. And I agree, Live and Let Die. I really
Can't beat it.
I love the Duran Duran song though.
I do too. I mean, originally originally the top 5 that I had before Carly Simon, out of all people, threw a wrench in this. I had Aha, The Living Daylights. I had Gladys Knight, License to Kill. Because I never watched No Time to Die, I did not have Billie Eilish in, and then I was like, you know what? Billie Eilish did the last song. Let me go and listen to it. And when I listened to that, it had to go in because it was so good. But my favorite two have always been Live and Let Die and For Your Eyes Only. Just go and listen to For Your Eyes Only again. Man, it stands the test of time. It's such a good song. And there's nothing like Live and Let Die. I don't think anything will ever beat it. The closest thing maybe that would come to that would probably be Jack White and Alicia Keys. It's definitely not going to be Chris Cornell. Rest in peace, brother. But his Bond song, forgettable. Not good. Casino Royale.
You know my name.
Song, not good.
Yeah, Jake, I didn't
Available in my store.
or you knew this, but originally, McCartney was just asked just to write a song for the Bond movie.
Was.
They were going to have Shirley Bassey sing it, and he kind of insisted that Wings do it. I didn't know that until today.
Better than Paul did it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a classic. Great.
You can't just imagine Shirley Live and Let Die. I mean, her voice. You just can't imagine what that would sound like. Goldfinger is good. You might as well have Robert Goulet sing it.
Yeah.
Sure. McCartney was the right one to do it.
Yeah.
Do we have audio? Because I think I agree. Yeah, list kind of just like an iconic movie song in general.
Yeah. And listen, y'all, I'm telling you, go and listen to Gladys Knight's A License to Kill. Just listen to it. I'm telling you, because a lot of people that love Bond don't like, they throw away George Lazenby. They throw away Timothy Dalton, because Lazenby only did 1. Timothy Dalton only did 2. But License to Kill theme songs, really, it's good. It's different. That's what I liked about it. It's completely different.
Jake, so I know when you do these top 5s, you're going back and you're listening to this stuff, and there's always a couple surprises in the re-listening part. So it sound like to me, that your surprises were the Carly Simon. You could not get rid of the Carly Simon.
I couldn't. I tried. God, I tried. I'm like, and here's the thing. I did not want to be biased, right? Because I've never been, I'm not denying Carly Simon's talent. I mean, she's a wonderful singer, has a beautiful voice. I just never grew up with Carly Simon. I just never grew up with that style. But as a Bond song, it was different. And the other thing about it too, right, is the title is, Nobody Does It Better, right? But that was one Bond song that wasn't Bond themed. Even though she does say The Spy Who Loved Me in the song, it wasn't the title of it. I like that. I mean, I kind of like that twist. And it's a good song. It's not bad. It had to be there. And I even went and looked at like some of the top Bond song lists. A lot of top, from worst to best, a lot of them had that within the top 2. So she gets a lot of credit. And they had View to a Kill all the way up in like the top 15 or 16, and I'm like, blasphemy.
Yeah, so you're gonna tell us your top 5 Bonds? You can tell us your top 5 Bonds quickly?
So top 5 Bonds. Daniel Craig brought Bond back, put him back on the map. I don't know if anybody's going to. He was a saving grace, but he might have also put Bond back several years because whoever fills his shoes, good luck. Daniel Craig, number 1. Sean Connery, number 2. Roger Moore, number 3. Sorry, y'all. I love Timothy Dalton as number 4. Pierce, number 5. And just because Lazenby did 1 and 1 only, he's my number 6 Bond. Wasn't really much of an actor, but damn, had he stayed with it and not been such a pain in the rear to deal with, I think he could have fit in the role and probably done a good job. He looked the part. Tall, good-looking dude. Wasn't the best actor of all the Bonds, but some may agree, some may disagree. His one movie was probably one of the best Bond films of all time. But those are
okay. So the daughter does disagree. So what's your top 5 Bonds, Whitney Lauren? And by the way, she's not a kid. She's 37 years old.
See, I have to go with
a lot of people
Daniel
have
Craig
a
is
hard
number
time.
1 too.
A lot of people have a hard time putting Connery below number 1. He was the first, and I love Connery, but Daniel Craig coming back as Bond was equivalent to Christian Bale coming back as Batman. Now, Michael Keaton is always going to be my Batman, but damn, Christian Bale did a great job. I feel the same way with what Daniel Craig did. He just, it was a great way to reboot and bring Bond back.
Wow. Well, that was interesting. So I don't know if Stacy's still here. So I think Stacy's probably partially pleased, partially upset with me.
I like that.
Happy with the Billy, aghast at the absence of Adele. Even on
it was look, it was hard, Stacey. It was hard because one of them had to be on there, and I'm not getting rid of Duran Duran, so I'm putting the boot to Adele Skyfall. I don't know if I didn't like the way. I don't know if it was the
I think
lyrics
it's just with Skyfall as a lyric.
I don't know. Billy's way better.
That's the brilliance of the Duran Duran song, though. If they come, the name of the movie is going to be A View to the Kill, and to figure out how to get that in a lyric that makes sense. Kudos to them.
Kudos to them. I mean, Aha should have been there, but they weren't.
I think just Craig brought up to
Sean Pierce Craig. God, that's horrible.
I think Craig brought up to another level to match what's going on with movies nowadays and made it a little bit less. I don't know. I love James Bond movies, but they always seem a little.
Can we all agree to this?
I don't want to use the word campy, but they all had this little weird thing to them where the Daniel Craig one was more realistic.
Casino Royale. I didn't have to see any other Daniel Craig. Craig could have done Casino Royale, and I'd have been like, dude, thank you very much for bringing James Bond back. I didn't have to see Quantum of Solace. I didn't have to see Spectre. I didn't have to see any of those. I was Skyfall, right? I'm totally fine. Casino Royale was that good. Might be my favorite of all Bond movies. Because prior to that, what was my favorite Bond movie?
Moonraker, you said.
It was the biggest piece of crap.
I like the ones with the.
I want to curse badly on this and tell you what I think of Moonraker, but we'll just say
I like the one with
James
the redneck
Bond
cop
in space doesn't belong.
The redneck cop with the boat race, the boats, and all that stuff, and then
that's Live and Let Die.
And then he shows up again as in the car.
He does. Well, he does in oh gosh, I think it was The Man with the Golden Gun, the cop, what Deputy Peppa, whatever his name was. I can't remember his name, but he was briefly cameoed in The Man with the Golden Gun. He was on one of the boats.
Now, did you know a producer or something to be in all these movies? Like, it's kind of funny how they carry him over. It's like a little Easter egg.
There was, I
Right.
forget the actress's name, but she was a Bond girl twice in 2 movies. We can go on and on. I mean, we don't want this to go on until 11
I know, because
p.m.
we're this is a point where guys we're going to start doing the questions and answers.
Yes.
So if you have any questions for, not Jake, because he'll go on forever.
Is our audio okay? It keeps on trying to default to one of the phones, so I keep on having to switch
Yeah,
it back.
you sound good.
You sound good
Okay.
now.
I don't know what it is. It's happened like 2 or 3 times. I just need to catch it. For some reason, it's kicking over. So
Listen what Whitney says. Whitney goes, T-Dalt, Craig is last for me. Obviously, you have your father's genes. Obviously. This is Van Halen 1984 all over again for Bond stuff. What?
would you say it jumped the shark with Moonraker?
Oh my
Jump
God,
something.
that's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Jeremy, that's what I like about, look, that's the same reason I like Timothy Dalton, is because he's angry, he's mean, it's different. It's more real to me. Daniel Craig took a combination of that. He was a little bit of T-Dalt. He was a little bit of Sean Connery. He was edgy. He, in my opinion, that's why he and Connery, right, are 1 and 2, because I think they
I have a
blend in.
disagreement with Craig not being funny. Do you remember the scene when he's in the boat and he's tied to the chair and and he asked him
to do it again? Yeah.
I have an itch on the other side or something along those lines. That was funny.
Very painful.
Well, I think that Daniel Craig's probably had the benefit of having some of the best scripts. I think they really focused on trying to make good stories. Some of those Roger Moore ones
had
were
to compete
horrible.
with the way
They had to.
Yeah.
I mean, the last Pierce Brosnan Bond movie was the worst.
But not worse than Moonraker. We all agree Moonraker.
I would say those are probably the 2. I don't think anything beats Moonraker. Moonraker.
So someone asked about the 5. Well, my wife, top 5 worst Christmas songs. Are we
Is
gonna
that
do
where-
that list next week? Because me and Jake will be fighting over number 1.
Let me fix my camera.
Which I think we should just combine the 2 that we fight about and just put those as a tie for the worst songs.
Okay.
We
what
could
do you-
talk about that alone for an hour, Sean.
Yeah, because we've been going back and forth with simply having a wonderful Christmas time and Christmas, the war is over.
I can say turd.
I like
Right.
both of those.
I do. I like, but that's the thing is, I like the McCartney one. And I don't care.
Okay, Sean, don't give all the way the content before the show.
Well,
We will do the top 5. I think we'll do a mixed top 5. Maybe we'll do a collab top 5 where the 3 of us and our guest next week, which we're going to announce who that's going to be here, we'll work together on a joint top 5.
with the top worst 5.
Yeah, and we'll do some kind of averaging to figure out the consensus
Can I
worst
nominate
one.
every 12 Days of Christmas, no matter what version it is?
So, okay, that'll be fun. We'll be 1 week away from Christmas, and it'll be our last episode for a couple of weeks. We'll be back in January. So next week, I don't even think I've told the guys yet. It's Dev is coming in. So
Dave.
I don't understand. We need subtitles for
Oh
him.
man.
So we'll have Dev the Dick with us next week on Whatnot. So he'll be here, and Dev's going to be great because he's got a broad knowledge of music. He there's some
Can't
genres.
name all 4 Beatles. And I trick him and say name all 5, and he can't name 4.
Yeah, but he can name some great R&B and funk and thrash metal, and he knows a lot of good stuff that we're maybe not experts in. So Dev will be
Google's
fun.
his friend.
We'll tease some of the folks. Our booking agents have been busy. January 8th, we're gonna have Adam, the Grateful Dentist, is going to join us, and I've got him to do the top 5 Dead records. So
I like that. It's gonna be fun and exciting. Y'all get on YouTube and listen to the Grateful Dead Yule log. Do it and let the English see you do it. It'll put you to sleep.
We got then we got back-to-back return appearances. So January 15th, our man Joe Williamson's back again.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
man.
And we're going to be ready for him this time. I think when Joe came, he knew our stuff better than we did because he had
Joe Willis.
studied it and listened to it. I was like, okay.
He was reading
he's
the
not
lyrics
getting
to all the
it.
songs that we were talking
Yeah,
about.
he knew the
I just want to
lyrics.
give him a
He
name
did more
to
work
pronounce.
for the show than we did.
Yeah.
I just want him to say Noriako Takayama. I just want to hear him mutilate that. Nori Taco.
We might have to do a
I
segment.
don't know.
Joe pronounces Japanese names, you know.
He should
I
give
feel
him a
that.
list.
I butcher some. I'm from Kentucky, so sometimes the accent just.
But
Y'all do a fabulous
Audra,
job.
you say them with authority, so when we don't know any different, we think you're right.
No clue. You could murder it. We'd be like, yep, that's the artist. That's it. Correct pronunciation. Spot on.
That makes me feel a little better because sometimes it's just that.
I've yet to be on a show and listen to. I've yet to hear you and Trin murder a name. It's just been.
Yeah, but if you go with it with conviction, you wouldn't know if they were messing the name up,
Right.
anyways.
Yeah,
Which is-
They
exactly.
always impress me when I'm in their stream. I'm like, man, these people know what they're talking about. They got
Yeah.
these Japanese names down.
They could make names up, and I'd be like, I bet
Yeah,
those are
that's good.
amazing artists. I bet they are awesome multi-million record sales. You would have me believing it.
You should
And-
see when he's doing a show and he finds out Oingo Boingo was on the record. He goes
Let me
crazy.
get the last
Yeah.
confirmed booking in.
I like Whitney's Last Christmas Wham. Whitney, I actually like that. If you like that, we agree. I like that song, believe it or not.
I think she probably doesn't like it, but
Your Jeans.
Channel 910, Johnny from Channel 910 will be on the 22nd. So that's everything we got confirmed.
All right, cool. I don't see any questions, but definitely make sure you follow us. Find our Discord. I'll try to. I don't have a link on it today. We can continue some of this conversation on there. We have the counting list of the 500 on there. So if you're wondering past ones, they're there. What else? What is Cap City? What do you guys have coming up? Promote your upcoming shows or.
Well, we do a VIP show thing. So we're doing that. And then I think we're doing like Christmas stuff. We usually take it like a week off because like a lot of the Japanese stores and locations and everything, the mail just completely shuts
down for like a week every year.
Nothing moves. Right. It's like a huge holiday there. It's kind of like their Christmas is like the whole week of January. So we're actually gonna get married.
Yay! Congratulations.
We kind of figured since Japan is shut down for a week, that's a good time for us to kind of
We're gonna take a week off.
reset. So we're taking a week off. Probably not like a full
Maybe.
week, a few
Maybe.
days. But
I
yeah,
like being off for too long.
it's gonna be fun. So and some store stuff
Wonderful,
planned.
y'all.
So yeah, we check our social media. We're at CapCityPop. Pretty active on TikTok, Instagram,
Discord.
Discord, and then we have a website, so you can get all that from there too. So
They're good at the
Thanks
social
for
media.
having
I
us,
suck
guys.
at the social
great.
media.
I love having you guys part of the best of the Whatnot community. Right, the Whatnot community is constantly growing. But you guys are some of the best, dependable. Right, good product,
Consistent and
you know
Thank
what you're doing.
I
Absolutely.
don't. I'm clueless.
All streams. You guys have great audio setups too. So sorry about our audio difficulties.
very professional setups, all three of you.
Yeah. But thank
Well,
you.
thanks for bringing. We knew, like I said, when we were talking about the Whatnot community, you guys have made this a vital part of the Whatnot community, and we didn't know what we were talking about, so we certainly weren't going to do it. And we're so glad that you guys came on and educated us a little bit. I did listen to. I had Trend pick a record out for me. I did listen to it. Offline, I'll give you my feedback on it, and we'll go for something. I'll give him a few more groups that I really dig, and maybe he'll give me a recommendation on something else. So, thank you guys for making the time. I know it's a couple hours out on Thursday when you've been working and trying to sell records. That's a lot. So we appreciate you taking the time to spend it with us this evening.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thank you, Sean.
Thank
Scott.
you. I mean, it's funny when I've been doing shows and the people going live for the first time, and they always comment on that they kind of like both of them, kind of from watching me, but I don't want to blame you for. I got problems with my shows that my organ, but some of the things that I learned from watching you guys learned some of that stuff, and all the people that have been following me, following what I do, but a lot of it I learned from you guys. Except
Oh,
being great, I don't list everything and all perfect, but it's the transparency, the love of music, playing the records. That's where I got it from. So when you guys thank me, you're really
Thank you.
thanking them, because that's where I got it from. And back then they were only hands, their arms and hands. That's it.
Yeah. We were originally, just like on this surface.
Yeah, they were only hands, but the voices were there.
And
Yeah.
Look at those beautiful faces.
But all the traits that the good traits that I have, I've gotten from them. The bad traits, I already had those. But so I want to thank you guys for mentoring me. But I'm at 6,000, just over it. But
We hit 6,000. Trin got there.
all right, because it was at 6,000, it went backwards. I might give them a follow again.
On for a couple of days.
Thank you, Thomas.
Much
love,
thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be on next week, and then we'll take that break. And do we have a top? We just doing the Christmas for next week?
Yeah, we'll go do top 5 or worst 5.
Or we could do good top 5 and bottom 5 too. It wouldn't be that much.
I don't know if we can be that organized or not, Sean. We'll try.
There's a lot of bad Christmas songs, so that'll be a quick list.
It's easier to do the bad ones, probably.
Because one of my favorites is also one of the worst.
Yeah.
At the same time, and it's a little animal from Italy, and his name is Dominic. Dominic the Christmas Donkey. The worst but best Christmas song ever. At the same time, look, everyone thrilled on my saying that.
I mean, do you see the enthusiasm?
I don't know what you're talking about, but
Dominic the Christmas Donkey. You don't know hee haw. You guys, okay? Now you have homework, all of you. Dominic the Christmas Donkey.
Will you hee haw one more time?
Yeah,
no.
hee haw again.
That is forever on this.
Yeah,
it is. But
love
I'm
that.
gonna cut that out.
Research. How do you guys don't know that awful song yet? I don't know. But
I'd like to hear you sing it at karaoke. That bad
little
boy.
donkey named Dominic. All right, I'm not singing any more of it today. So everyone check that out so you guys can agree with me being it's the best song ever.
All right. Hey, good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks, chat.
Night, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.